Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, gamers worldwide, unite because you are winning. Ladies and gentlemen, all the accusations we've heard over the years of review bombing and how it was all nonsense and how it didn't make a difference and how yada, 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 it was just a bunch of weirdos out there on the internet causing problems. Well, ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful sign that the pendulum is swinging back, that the Overton window has moved. You've got, of all companies out there, Grand Theft Auto maker Rockstar Games is so worried about gamer reviews that they have actually filed about it in their SEC filings, having to legally make aware of a potential impact that you, the gamer, the customer, the reviewer, can potentially have an impact on their sales and ergo their stock price if they decide to put out junk that, guess what, you, the customer, the gamer, is not happy about. And that's exactly what we've got to talk about here right now, ladies and gentlemen, because from thegamer.com, yes, ladies and gentlemen, thegamer.com, GTA 6 publisher Take-Two is worried about review bombings. To anyone out there, whoever told you that your voice did not matter, that you going out there and making your opinion heard on social media and in reviews, that you out there complaining, you out there criticizing, legitimate criticism of these games, that you're just some little peon, that your voice doesn't matter, well, boys and girls, take heart! Because today, you are winning. Because you, the reviewer, the customer, the gamer, have made it into an SEC filing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is great news. So we're going to share this article from thegamer.com, getting all the juicy details of exactly what has Take-Two absolutely shaking in their boots. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share it with all your friends, and subscribe and or follow if you have not already, because we just crossed 800 on Rumble and YouTube as well. And we're inching our way closer and closer to 900, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below and let us know if you're one of those out there who has left a gaming review, positive or negative, that now has you being called out in an SEC filing for a Fortune 500 company. How does that make you feel, boys and girls? So, and then shout out to John Flores Jr. for writing this article in the way he did, because trust me, I thought this article was going to go in a much more different light considering all of the negative press we've had about review bombing over the years. So check this out from Mr. Flores. Every now and again, gamers band together to execute a review bomb. I like this. He's even speaking in gamer terms for this. We're going to get together. We're going to execute one. We're going to execute a review. We're going to execute this plan. We're going to execute this mission. We're going to love it. It's going to work out great. I love it. Execute a review bomb. It's exactly what its name implies, where hundreds upon hundreds of negative reviews are unleashed on a title in a form of a virtual protest. Some of these coordinated efforts have been because of how poorly a game runs, or in response to potential changes that the larger gaming world disagrees with. Hold on. Let's stop this just there for a second. Because of how poorly a game runs, or in response to potential changes that the larger gaming world disagrees with. Not a bunch of weirdos out there on the internet. Not a bunch of racists or homophobes. None of those things. No. Just the larger gaming world disagrees with, or because of how poorly a game runs. Now, I don't know about you boys and girls, but that is sure an awful big change in tone when it comes to how people are addressing and talking about review bombing now, isn't it? Now, I don't know too much about who runs the gamer anymore, who owns the company at this point, but I'll give credit where credit is due. Johnny Flores Jr., I don't know if this was an edict from your bosses or if you're just doing this on your own, but shout out to you for not pulling all of the same BS gaslighting punches that so many other organizations out there try to. So good on you, Johnny. Good on you. So Johnny's wonderful article carries on. For the most part, they are effective. See that, boys and girls? You do matter. With publishers often making amends one way or another. And we've seen countless examples of that. Stellar Blade, Helldivers, there's so many others out there. We've seen other games. Cyberpunk, one of the most buggy and broken games ever released in recent memory. Now, what I've heard, it took them a long time, but look what they've done. Look what they've done. What's one of the other ones, Art? That? What's the big open world one that I can't remember the name of right now that was supposed to give you all of these amazing things, and it was supposed to this big open world universe that you could go out there, not the Starfield one, not the ridiculous pronoun nonsense, but the other one out there. It took them years, but they finally fixed it. Everything I've heard about the game now is wonderful. You know, so it's one of them situations where this stuff does work. It is effective. Your voice does matter. And now even the major corporations, the major AAA publishers out there have to recognize the power of that. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. That was the other one. From what I hear, I actually had one of my wonderful subscribers out there gifted me a copy of the game. I can't wait to get into and play it because I remember hearing about how exciting and amazing and how just ambitious they were supposed to get with that game. And guess what? After enough time of you complaining, guess what? They fixed it. Your voice matters. They're a powerful tool. Oh, yes, they are. And it turns out video game publishers are aware of just how impactful they can be. Just ask Take-Two, the larger holding company behind 2K and Rockstar Games, the makers of Grand Theft Auto, and how they feel about review bombs. Hint, they view them as a risk to commercial success. Yes, boys and girls, you are making an impact. Take-Two fears the impact of review bombs. As first spotlighted by Stephen Totilo in the Games File newsletter, Take-Two recently made mention of the potential impact the review bombs can have in its most recent 10K filing with the SEC. The filing, which can be accessed here, noticed that review bombs can impact potential sales as well as profits. It can also harm the reputation of the company. You think? Hey, somebody remind me of that studio that was behind the Saints Row franchise that decided to go in a direction that was completely and totally against everything the gamers wanted about that game. And how did that work out for them again? Oh, yeah, the company doesn't exist. Maybe that's why I can't remember their name anymore. So, yeah, the review bomb can indeed have an impact. And it can harm the reputation of your company. In particular, Take-Two's filed the following. Now remember, this is an official SEC filing. They are having to warn their investors that this may happen, because if they are later found out that they, yes, do know that this can have an effect, and they're not just trying to play it off like so many of these other companies, oh, those it's a review bombing, it doesn't matter, yada, 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 it doesn't actually change anything, yada, yada, yada. If it's found out that internally they do actually recognize this as a threat and they end up losing money because of it, their investors can sue them. Okay? So this is literally, they have to admit that this, yes, could potentially be a problem. They have to legally cover their butt. So yes, they are legally recognizing that your game reviews make a difference and make an impact. Furthermore, obtaining and maintaining high ratings of our games on third-party platforms, i.e. Steam, on which we operate, are important as they help drive players to find our games. Why, yes, they do. If the ratings of any of our games that we decline, or if we receive significant negative reviews that result in a decrease in our ratings, our games could be more difficult for players to find or recommend. Of course, still not, blaming it, not taking any responsibility for the fact that if they put out a crappy game, they get crappy reviews. But no. But just making sure it could be hard to find their games. I wonder why. In addition, we may be subject to negative review campaigns or defamation campaigns intend to harm our ratings. Oh, well, it sounds like Grand Theft Auto makers don't want to accept responsibility for the fact that they put out a crappy game because then it would show that they have crappy leadership. No, 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 no. It's all of you people's out there fault. But that's okay, because you're making a difference. And guess what? That means they're going to have to change things if this does indeed affect their fiduciary responsibilities. In addition, we may be subject to negative review campaigns or defamation campaigns intended to harm our ratings. Any such decline may lead to a loss of players, high Helldivers, and revenues, additional advertising and marketing costs, and reputation harm. Yes, you, the gamer, the customer, and your opinion can indeed harm these companies. It can indeed affect their bottom line. Disney just had to admit to it over a year ago that their political agendas may affect their revenue. And now you have Take-Two, the makers of arguably the largest video game franchise out there. Grand Theft Auto itself has to admit that your voice matters. And boys and girls, I don't know how much of a better day that could get for gamers out there. That is a beautiful sunshine moment. And why do gamers' opinions matter? Well, we're going to get into that in just a second. In other words, Take-Two is very much aware of the power of review bombing. After all, it wasn't too long ago that the company was the subject of a review bomb themselves. That's because when Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the Definitive Edition trilogy, was released in a poor state, complete with bugs and other glitches, hundreds of fans review bombed the game across the platform. At one point, the PC version had a 0.5 on Metacritic, while the PlayStation version had a 1.0 score. And yes, they saw the result. Internally, they saw the numbers of the fact that your voice matters, and they lost sales on that game because of it. So now they have to openly admit to the public in a legal document, in a binding legal document, that yes, your opinions do matter. Earlier this year, Helldivers 2, Sony's breakout live service, was on the receiving end of that. We just talked about that. I was a big fan of Helldivers. I honestly have played like once since after the PlayStation Network login requirement debacle. Like, I played once just to go, hey, you know what? You fixed your BS. But honestly, I know plenty of people who, including myself, who have quit playing the game now. And it sucks because the game was a blast. It's just like, once burned, twice shy. You know, it's like, what are they going to do to us next time? So, great game, a lot of fun. And a lot of us don't play it anymore. While it seems highly unlikely that Take-Two's next big venture, Grand Theft Auto 6, will be the subject of a review bomb, stranger things have happened. After so many years without a Grand Theft Auto title and Rockstar's general push for GTA Online, there certainly does exist a scenario where fans could bomb the game if it's not up to their expectations. That probability remains a slim chance at best. Still, it's interesting to know that the companies truly do take notice of what the community is doing. More so, it goes to show you how impactful the gaming community can be in getting its voices heard. Yes, indeed, boys and girls. My hat's off to all of you out there who have participated in one of these protests, who have participated in making your voice heard, because guess what? This confirms that the industry is indeed listening. They are hearing you. They are seeing your voices affect their sales, and now they have to take it into account. I always suspected that the video game industry would turn around faster than Hollywood because they operate on a different type of margin. The video game industry will spend a decade producing a game that if it does not make them money, they are damaged, sometimes beyond repair, and sent off into oblivion. Thus, exactly what happened with the Saints Row reboot franchise. That studio does not exist anymore. How many bombs have we seen come out of Hollywood, and so many of those studios still exist? It's because of the kind of way they play with their profits. But even then, once again, like we talked about, Disney itself had to admit that it trying to go pushing its agenda into its escapism has affected its bottom line as well. Just like GTA's own publisher has to admit that your voice matters and that what they do and how they treat their gamers and whether or not they launch a buggy title for $70, $80, or $100 on game one, or just the absurd fact that games need a patch on day one when you buy a physical copy and try to play it in your system, shows you that yes, the gaming industry has its issues, is in trouble, and is very well aware of how much you as the customer, you as the fan, make a difference. You, the gamer, does matter. Your voice does matter. So make it heard. Be loud. Be proud. You're a gamer, and you will not go silently into the night. You will make your voice heard. And together, collectively, we can actually save the gaming industry. Go woke, go broke exists for a reason. And boys and girls, when these companies decide to put out buggy games or put out games with an agenda, gamers make their voices heard, and gamers make the difference. And even Grand Theft Auto's own publisher has to recognize you as making a difference. So take heart, take joy, and take pride in the fact that you gamers make a difference. That you make a difference, boys and girls.